A woman threatened to kill her neighbors, paraded around her garden naked and threatened to kill their dogs in a 2-year hate campaign. Lisa Cartmel was branded a living nightmare after she threatened to petrol bomb the home of Kelly and Darren Ellis. The 35-year-old left the family fearing for their lives, also threatening to butcher their dogs, a court heard. In one incident, Cartmel stood her window naked as she shouted death threats at Mrs. Ellis and another yelled, "Just you wait and see Kelly. When I see you, I'm going to kill you." In a separate incident, she repeatedly lifted her top to flash her breast at the couple's kids as she walked down the street outside her home in Farnworth, near Bolton, Greater Manchester. In a statement, Mrs. Ellis, 35, a youth worker, said, "Lisa's behavior has been seriously concerning for my family. I feel like it's only a matter of time before something happens and I'm living on the edge worried about our safety. It's a constant worry for me because we don't know what Shush is going to do from one day to the next. It is becoming unbearable. Her being abusive and exposing herself makes me frustrated and has had impact on my work as I would come home from work worried whether she will do it again." Mr. Ellis, 36, a business manager, said, "For the past 2 years this woman has been a living nightmare for myself and the whole of my family. My children have at times been too petrified to play out in the back garden because of her behavior. She made threats to my children that she would burn our house down and I was worried she was throwing things into our garden as she was so volatile in the past. She always made threats to kill our dogs and one night I saw her emerging from her property naked and heard her shouting and waving her arms in an erratic state. I feel angry, frustrated and annoyed and fear for the safety of my children because of the way she has behaved. Children should not be seeing things like that." Police arrested Cartmel in July last year and charged her with making threats to kill, and causing a public nuisance by indecent exposure, but her guilty plea to harassment was accepted. Bolton Crown Court heard the incidents took place between 2019 and July 2021 after Cartmel moved to a rented property next door to Mr. and Mrs. Ellis. Timothy Ashmole, prosecuting, said, "She engaged in inappropriate and threatening behavior." He added, later Kelly was outside watering her plants whilst her children were playing in the garden when the defendant began shouting filthy remarks about the youngsters. The defendant also said she had a gun and was going to shoot Kelly. Such remarks were made every other day. Kelly described occasions when the defendant exposed herself on the street with her breasts on show whilst the children played out. She also described how the defendant made threats to kill her. On one occasion she got home from work at 10:30 p.m. and saw the defendant standing naked in her front window and banging on the glass shouting, "I'm going to F. King kill you." She was scared the defendant might go through with her threats one day and she was afraid of Miss Cartmel being around the children. In one incident at 8 a.m. Kelly left her address for work and saw the defendant at her window and heard her shouting, "Just you wait and see Kelly. When I see you, I'm going to kill you." Kelly was scared for both herself and the children's safety. The court had a couple living on the other side of Cartmel's property would be woken up by her shouting and screeching from within her property. When interviewed by police, she denied any wrongdoing. She had a previous conviction for racially aggravated harassment. In mitigation, defense counsel Alistair Reid said his client, who has been diagnosed with bipolar and a personality disorder, had been offered new accommodation elsewhere. He told the hearing, she was struggling substantially with her mental health, but there was no direct intimidation or attempts to assault anyone. Her behavior has not escalated beyond verbal abuse and comments. Cartmel, who appeared via video link from Style Women's Prison in Cheshire, was ordered to complete a 2-year community order plus 25 rehabilitation activity requirement days and attend a 6-month mental health program. The judge, Mr. Recorder Simon Hilton, told her, "This was inappropriate and at times threatening and abusive behavior which you showed towards your neighbors. There were obscene comments and gestures sometimes in front of the children, and on more than one occasion you made threats to kill. Mr. and Mrs. Ellis suffered fear and distress by what you did to them and held grave concerns about the effect of your behavior on their children. You made their lives a misery and this has left a mark on both of them." As sentence was passed, Cartmel said, "Thank you, Your Honor, I won't do it again."